Hello everyone, this is Fantastic Worlds, welcome you back to Lovecraft Country and Secret World Interludes. Now, I've kind of been putting this one off because, well, Egypt isn't my favorite place, but I'm going to have to get through this if I want to get to Transylvania, where I really want to do so. So, I'm going to try to do the Scorched Desert in a couple of episodes, and then maybe the Egyptian underworld in one after that. But, in the meantime, let's see what's actually going on. Now, when you first arrive over here at this ancient tomb, which has a well to Argothia to it, you notice that there's a small group of the Marya, which are the local resistance fighters against the Dreamers. The Dreamers champion, the Black Pharaoh. So, these people are guarding the temple. Now, the question is why? As you can see, they've taken up a... hang on for a second. They've taken up a defensive position around the entrance here, and I've got a theory as to why these 5 people are stuck out here when the main force is back over there somewhere. But first, let's talk to the supposed leader, Shani. Okay, let's see what she has to say about herself, shall we?
I was not a child soldier, sleeping beside a rifle instead of a doll. It is only in recent years that the Atenists have become an open threat. After that, we all had to learn to shoot very quickly. I had a gift for it, and a voice that was heard, so here I am.
Okay, so she's not a soldier. Hang on a second. Let me get that for you. Okay, so yeah, apparently the Atenists are a recent threat, and the Marya have been inactive as a result. So what they're dealing with right now, they're getting overwhelmed by. Again, more on that later. Let's see what else she has to say.
In my life, we have made more travels than most can recall. But I remember everyone. I grew into a woman across the Western Desert, and its dunes and oasis are my home.
Okay, so she's a scout, which is one of the reasons she's called to military duty, as the scales tend to translate over. As you can see, her uniform is pretty much a uniform jacket that's had a makeshift. Here, I might be get a little closer to it. Okay, there we go. Has a makeshift. Guys, you're gonna have to get that one. Has a makeshift emblem here that probably matches the original founder of the Marya, who we met in the Underworld Desert, who's a bit of a lunatic. Oh, nice, is that tattoo work, or is that scroll work? Oh, henna. Is it? Looks like henna to me. But anyways, let's see what else she has to say.
We go into the cities only when we must. In places where the old religions are weak, so are the Atenist snakes. That is good, and my heart feels pride to see a new Egypt rising in these towers and minarets. But cities are no place for the Marya. Too closed in, how do you say, claustrophobic.
Huh. Okay, hang on. Okay. Is there another one? No. Okay. Yeah, they're not doing well. More on that.
I will always be a daughter of the desert, where the sand meets the sky, and our past meets our future.
Yeah, I don't think the city's as secure as you think it is. For crying out loud. There you are. Okay, so yeah, apparently she's a scout and a daughter of the desert that was recruited for the Marya when the Atenists suddenly struck, which would be around 2012, I'm thinking.
In the old stories, the Marya descended on the enemy and his deceased cult like a violent storm. There were thousands. Professional soldiers and paupers standing shoulder to shoulder. The New Kingdom had never seen such a movement.
She's referring to the original version, which was led by the priestess of Sekhmet, which unfortunately I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I'm sure I feel like an idiot about 5 minutes later. But anyways, yeah, so they were an army then that was backed by the throne in exile and then came sweeping down to destroy the filth-ridden army, and now they're a bunch of impoverished rebels. Not a good thing.
This was so long ago. and the blood we had spilled dried in the sand and carried away. Then the Merayeh were 1,000 men, then hundreds, then 100.
Yep. Once there's no war, they're going to disband the army.
Now here we are, outnumbered by the Atonists. But unlike those dogs, we cannot force the people to believe in our struggle. Stripping them of their will would go against all we hold valuable, against the name of the Merayeh.
Yeah, it's a problem when you can just pump some filth down someone's throat and turn them into a slave soldier.
If this trouble was to spread as far inland as the Nile, then I think we would have no shortage of volunteers. By then it would be too late.
True. And as you can see, they're not doing so well. Okay, you guys got that one. Alright, so tell me about, well, Egypt in general.
Before your people had writing, this land built temples standing to this day. Before you could farm, this land had raised vast armies. When your people trembled at the sight of the moon or fire, this land bowed before beast-headed gods.
Hey, I'm of Celtic descent, so you don't get to say that. We had Ogrim, we had beast-headed gods, we had complex tribal structures too. There's even some of our ruins still around here like this, so I'll give you some points for being on your home turf, but no, you weren't it back then.
I took in all these stories with my mother's milk. They weigh heavy as stone. As if the Sphinx had pressed me under its forepaw.
Yeah. Tradition is a heavyweight.
The Merayeh took up the burden of memory so Egypt can forget. When walls are uncovered in the deep sands, they should never know what those walls guarded against.
Agreed, but that's the problem is that's why you don't have any volunteers.
We erase the enemy's one true name as punishment for the crimes of the Atonists. If we succeed here, Aten can be forgotten again.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
The Nameless One and his nameless city deserves no place in my Egypt's history.
Yeah, okay, that's great, except for the fact that you're losing.
You are a stranger behind the veil of Egypt. But I know about the world you come from. The three great orders of red, green, and blue.
Black for Archie.
The wars and treacheries.
Yeah, we're not too proud of it.
Stories carry well on the wind. And with drink and the heat, Oxford University men are very talkative.
Right, I suspected they had some magical abilities themselves. We'll get to them.
Your people do not have a good reputation here, not since the Romans. The trade princes of Cairo, they say you are common tomb robbers.
Hey.
They say this after they have taken your money and sold off our history.
That's fair.
When the earth opened up to bring you here, though, I suspected it was a good omen. The honeybees had left al-Merayeh for many months. Now they have come back. I hope their timing is not flawed.
And that is exactly why I wanted to talk to her about this temple. See, the Merayeh are losing badly. This is one knot, but it's been really been cut in half by an assault that's leading straight to the town over there. I'll go over that in more detail. But my guess is that Shani came back here to this temple because there was a prophecy that there would be someone to deliver them. A god, perhaps. Well, technically, we're a proto-god, a demigod. And the first thing she said to us was, are you here to bring reinforcements? There must have been a prophecy that said that if the very end times, it should come to this temple and wait by that portal for assistance. And you know what? Here we are, because that is the way prophecies work. Oh, we got that one. Here, I got this one. But, you know, again, we're caught in the time portal here. We always advance to just before the Merayeh's final defeat to rescue them. So, yeah, hang on a second. Okay, so back. So obviously some time has passed as it's night now, but there's some RL stuff to take care of. But as you can see, Shani has holed up here at the Agartha entrance with a single fire team in an attempt to hold open a corridor so you can get in. No doubt from a prophecy, because it seems that Gaian bees operate under the prophecy that they only get activated when everything falls apart. Otherwise, Gaia relies on the pre-established defenses. But al-Merayeh has been overrun by the cultists. As you can see, this area down here by the gas station is completely overtaken as a cultist center of worship. In fact, what's interesting is that they've overtaken the area and not bothered to loot it. There's one mission that you have that essentially has you pulling all the supplies out of here for the rest of the defenders, because this was their supply depot. Obviously, it makes sense for them to have used a gas station as a fuel depot, and you stockpile water everywhere. But as you can see, the road coming into town is now fully patrolled by the Atonists. They are in charge.
Give me another sign, Master.
No.
I scrabble in filth.
Although, as you can see, the road just goes off into the distance here. So, yeah, the Maria Cordon. Now, the reason it's probably called this is this was probably where the main invasion force was coming and they blew the bridge. And however, it wasn't enough. While it did prevent heavy vehicles from coming in, they just overran them with numbers. Now, cultists are just regular people with filth shoved down their necks, which is why, for the most part, they're just like ordinary people with black eyes. Oh, for crying out loud, you people are just annoying. But as you can see, they've taken this entire area and are now holding the strategic position of both bridges. The Marians are pretty much effed, which is why, of course, Gaia sent you. And the Dry River we'll come back to in a second, but as you can see,
initiating.
I guess he's going off to join the fight. As you can see, this is now another supply depot that's been overrun. As you can see, the plethron sign here means Oriachi has had their own facilities overrun as well, which I don't really see that as much of a strange thing. I mean, one thing Oriachi seems really good at is dying like red shirts. But again, another cultist tongue point. Now, odds are most of the people here, I'll get that later, most of the people here are in fact the villagers that were in this area when it was overrun. As you can see, the city itself is the last standing point, but as these suspicious villagers and other people keep coming in, the area underneath is infiltrated, and as I'll show you in a moment, a lot of the villagers are already on the cultist side. After all, light infection means that you can't tell who's bad. The eyes only go after a heavy one. Let's see. All right, through here. Okay, so this area is unpatrolled and in, shall we say, disputed range. These are the suspicious villagers, aka the cultists, the regular cultists, all joining forces for one final hurrah in the city itself. The last Marian checkpoint is here. A hastily constructed barricade. Excuse me. But as you can see, this building suspiciously is still in operation. Guess hope we can drive all the way in. You know, despite being behind cultist lines, since you come across... I don't know what that means, but I hope it's polite. Yeah, but as you can see, this is also where the cultists contact the representatives of the Morning Light. So this area is still, despite what it looks like, is under cultist control, as is most of the town. Now, as we go inside, excuse me. That's right, shoot the dead body. Alright, this facility is behind the lines, technically, but a lot of times you're going to come across a villager that's called apprehensive. Now, if you accuse them, there's a chance that they might actually turn out to be a cultist. I mean, this guy over here, for example... Thank you. Oh, God, there's a lot of mail today. Yeah, he wasn't getting rid of that graffiti, he was making it. Although, you know, since you're stuck in a moment of time, it can be hard to tell as he doesn't actually progress. But yeah, the place is overrun. There's bombs everywhere. That's this mission showed you. There's a dead guy up there who hung himself. That's another mission. Yeah. Apprehensive villagers in the middle square. The Maria desperately trying to recruit any last members. The only actual place you're going to find any signs of civilization is the Gizara's Cafe. We should probably talk to the good proprietor as well. Alright, Zara, hit me with it. What goodies can you give me? Tell me about yourself.
I run this cafe, the Giza. Yes, I know the name. But even here, in the middle of nowhere, we have tourists. and tourists will always flock to the familiar. I know something about marketing, you see, from my previous life. A life I was forced to abandon. But I won't bother you with such things. Have enough worries out there already.
Yes, this is the sort of place where people go to if they want to escape something. Not if they want to find something most of the time. I don't know what she did, but she's probably pissed off somebody somewhere with money.
Just know that if you need anything, I wish to be of assistance. I can't do much. I can make good cakes and tea, and I can make pretty clothes. Oh, this dress, I made it. If you need something repaired... What am I saying? I'm sure you have many clothes already.
That's kind of a dig on the fact that most players here already have an overflowing wardrobe, even if they aren't trying. I mean, I think I've got over 100 pieces myself. But let's see what she knows about the town.
I was not born in al-Merayeh, but it is my home now. I love it. Not for all the people. There have always been bad people here. Those who have worshipped older gods. But for the good people, and there are plenty of them.
Yeah, cultists make terrible neighbors.
Sadly, many have vanished. The cultists, those who worship Aten, they are doing evil things, making slaves of our people, killing them.
Yeah, how corporate of them.
Now, we are trapped here, and we do not know who to trust. There are enemies on every corner, behind every door, and they look and talk just like us. I cannot even trust my neighbors and customers. Of course, I trust my friends still, because otherwise, what else is there? But even friends can be turned.
Yes, she's referring to the fact that cultists can be force-created. In fact, many of her friends and neighbors are probably the people that were gunning down out there. Okay.
This is a dark time for our town. I pray for brighter days.
This is true, and the fact that we technically are the answer to the prayer. Now, remember, this is a moment in time stuck before we destroyed the Dark Pharaoh. Now, in the regular timeline, where time goes forward, because as bees were perpetually trapped in a sort of no time that in Agartha that were simply extended out from to dangerous areas, this, I'm hoping the cultists just fall apart, that they mentally just cannot handle it without somebody to control them, because we kill both the Pharaoh and the cult leader. So my guess is that despite the losses the Marya took and the betrayal by the Oriachi, that there will be enough to start over again. Just it may not be very large. Let's see what she knows about the cultists. No, yeah, that's the thing. She's probably the low-level criminal contact. You can get anything you want from her. She knows who to contact, but most of her heavy stuff, yeah, that's going to go to our favorite mummy. More on him later.
Al-Merayeh has never been innocent. I have seen evil here, long before the skies and ground opened up, long before the earthquakes and the thunder. From what I have heard and read, the town was home to Atenists since thousands of years. This was their exile and refuge, where they continue to worship the old god and the Black Pharaoh.
What's interesting is that kind of parallels both the Illuminati controlling Kingsport, and if you're a larger horror fan of video games, it also includes the Silent Hill, where the cult crew was in the area and a tourist town just kind of built up around it and they hid within it. As you know, the town fathers and such.
For those who live here, they have chosen to ignore it. No one would accuse their neighbors of being sorcerers and heretics, but behind closed doors, the ancient rituals continued.
Now, this is actually pretty much like a Lovecraftian New England town, just set in Egypt, which is why you get sort of the dissonance. I don't actually feel like I'm in Egypt or any real Arabic culture. I just feel like I'm in a Lovecraftian town in the desert.
Now it is in the open. They are no longer afraid. Outside, there is great evil. But inside the town walls, there is even greater evil.
Yeah, she knows the score.
No one will speak his name. But I know who leads them, the Atanis, the cultists. I know who is instrumental in making mindless slaves of our friends and neighbors. His name is Abdel Daoud.
Yep, that would be the fat guy that we killed twice, in fact. Wasn't a terribly effective leader. The only thing he had going for him is the numbers. And he just sacrificed people like water. And even if you've got the numbers, you're really a terrible tactician if you can lose that way.
I have always believed there is a veil over the world, hiding the truth about everything.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Now the veil is lifted, it all seems so normal. Does that make sense? True. There are demons walking among us. The souls of the dead have risen. Our tortured ancestors are amassing on our town. And yet, it feels almost expected.
Well, the end of the world scenario is in every religion, every faith. I mean, hell, even atheists think that climate change is going to kill us all. So we're expecting to be ended.
Maybe we have become, how do you say, immune. Immune to it all. From the films and computer games and cartoons. We have seen it all already, and reality is no different from the screen. Only more personal.
And there we have it. That is how the Illuminati works. Remember, they control entertainment through Hollywood. So what they've done is they've mentally prepared everybody for everything from the zombie apocalypse to Cthulhu Rising, including this game. You know, Illuminati confirmed. They're doing it out in the open. Get your tinfoil hats. The end of the world is now.
Or maybe I have always lived in the shadow of pain and death. And this is no different. Only now, the demons are not disguised as humans.
I'm going to guess that she's been a trafficker victim simply because of the way she talks and the fact that usually trafficking is linked to legitimate business, which means she'll have legitimate business power, but it's a complete guess. All right, local history, you've seen some of this during one of the missions, but let's top it off.
I love this town. It may not look like much. It's not New York or Paris, but it has soul. An old soul, stained and musty, but also robust and authentic. I know. It is just a small town in the middle of the desert, far away from big cities and civilization. I know, because this is why I come here in the first place. I like being far away.
Away from everything.
Since I arrive, I decide to learn all there is about al-Merayeh. I have read books and documents, spoken with the elders, looked at records, explored every building, every nook, every cranny. al-Merayeh is older than you may think. Don't be fooled by appearances. Below this town is an older town. Below that again is an even older one, and so on, back to the days of the pharaohs.
And further.
We are sitting on history itself.
Now, she's absolutely correct in the real world. The thing is, you put a city in exactly the same place over and over again for the same reason. Access to water, access to trade, fertile land, defensible location. The thing is, there's only so many of those places on the planet. So if you've got one, you build it. And when the civilization collapses, you build on the ruin. The next people build on the ruins of that one. And then so on and so on. The older the city, the more layers there are below it. Now, some of those may no longer be accessible by any ways except a backhoe and careful excavation. But in some cases, you can actually walk into the history.
And this town has many, many secrets. Secrets that may be important to what is going on here now. I like mysteries, but I also like being alive, and there are places I cannot go, doors I should not I tell you, because maybe you can change the course of history by learning from history, by stepping into history, by learning to know the soul of al-Merayeh.
Now, of course, that leads into the mission where we actually do go back in time, if you remember that one, and to the earlier regions. You're welcome. I'm sorry I don't tip well, but I also don't eat. Okay. Now, but you also remember this... Oh, shut up. You remember this charming individual, the Phoenician low-level agent hired off Craigslist. She is the worst black market dealer. I mean, seriously. She's sitting in a corner, shadow corner, dressed like this. God, she's just a cliche. The problem is, the cliches are the first ones you pick up. And she's not going to tell us much, is she?
If you had been in this life more than 5 minutes, you would know not to ask me personal questions. You would also know not to trust a fucking word I say. Look around. Who do you think I am? What do you think I do?
You annoy people for the most part.
I am your enemy. But I will give you a bit of advice. And you can decide for yourself whether you want to heed that advice or stay stupid. Watch your back. You have bigger problems than me and my compatriots.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, she's as unhelpful as ever. Yeah, not bad. Oh, we've got a jukebox. Ooh, somebody's rocking out. Anyways, yeah, and here we are overlooking the main town now because of my magic. Now there's the Mario recruiter over there attempting to get people to join his cause, but how many of these people do you think are actually cultists? It's kind of paranoid because, as I've pointed out before, anybody can be a cultist. Anyway, so let's go talk to the, oh my god, supposed saver. Oh, hang on. Yeah, okay, I got it. The supposed savers over here. The Council of Venice and their fire team. Frankly, and they're just not doing anything. Are you afraid to, like, get those white uniforms dirty? I hate bureaucrats. Anyways, let's talk to the poor woman who has been assigned all this madness. Hi.
I come from San Basilio de Palenque in Colombia, and that is a kind of a secret world in itself. Going home feels almost like traveling in time. It's a beautiful thought.
Sometimes home seems better than where you are, even if it really isn't.
My grandmother, bless her soul, was an adept in the old earth magics, in witchcraft. I've seen firsthand what magic can do in the right hands, and in the wrong hands.
Preach, sister.
This is why I joined the Council of Venice. I believe we need an agency to govern and regulate these forces. Forces so great, I'm certain we haven't even begun to understand them yet.
Yes, but you're about, 3, 4, 10 decades behind everybody else on this. You're just watching.
This place, al-Merayeh, it's a viper's nest. I'm no stranger to vipers, but these are more venomous than most. I don't feel safe here.
Okay, you're not stupid. I'll give you that.
The Maria are trying to root out the snakes, but despite their courage and conviction, they are few, and the cultists are like grains of sand in the desert.
You don't have an army to call?
The villagers? Well, they are either too scared to do anything, or they too worship Aten. Like I said, it's a nest of vipers. You stick your hand in, you might get bit.
Yeah, not stupid.
Your help is desperately needed, but be careful out there. Watch your back. You can never know who to trust.
That's true. I shouldn't trust her after all, but it turns out I can. There's nothing, she hasn't betrayed or anything. One thing I've noticed about the council is they tend to be pretty loyal sticks in the mud.
When I look at you, the first thing I see is potential. Unlimited potential for improvement.
It's an interesting way to think of the bees.
I'm not talking about you specifically, so much as the colors you serve under.
Ah, wasted potential. Let's see where
Why
this is
is
going.
it that you need to fight over absolutely everything? You're not that different, you know. I've worked with agents from all the factions. Potato, potato. In the end, it's all the same.
Yeah, but we're humans. We do that.
You just need to find a way to work together.
United against darkness. Remember?
You haven't met my boss. Okay, tell me about the council.
What a lot of people don't realize is that the Council of Venice was never something that was imposed upon the factions. In fact, the council was created by the factions to promote cooperation and temper the conflicts, to keep the secret world secret, to prevent all-out war, and to bring some order to the anarchy.
Absolutely correct. The council was set up as, just like the UN, by the individual people that are fighting as a stabilizing force. Because, until very recently in history, people who were leading nations knew enough that you could destabilize everything, you could lose your nation. You could literally lose your entire nation, everything in it. Like the factions, they could just tear the world apart. They're straight up fighting. But we have to have some sort of law, order, and stability in order to be able to. Now, as the council got weaker, the stability failed and the conflict became more open. Again, very much a parallel.
But it seems we have forgotten the lessons of the past. If we don't get our act back together, I fear we're heading for another Armageddon. And fast.
I'm with you there, and sister.
I complain a lot about the council, and not always in a constructive way. But at the end of the day, I do believe in it and what it's trying to do. I believe with all my heart that the council is needed and that it is possibly our only hope for the future.
Ugh.
For a future. That's why it's so frustrating when we get mired down in pointless rhetoric and conflict again and again and again.
And there you have both the council and the real world's UN issue. There are people dedicated to trying to promote world peace, but the world doesn't want peace. That's the problem.
Being part of the secret world is an obligation as much as it is a privilege.
Okay.
I know. You see all the bright lights and the parties, the fireworks and the power. But I don't believe we should be doing any of this for ourselves. We should be doing it for them. For all those who have no clue about how the world really works, about what goes on below the surface.
I'm actually fine with that with her. I mean, I actually kind of regret you can't work with the council as your faction. Why are no bees working with the council? Well, the council's probably not recruiting them, that's the problem. But yeah, the thing is, it would be interesting to do a game perspective for the fourth faction, the council, or fifth, possibly Oriachi, but that would just be the Illuminati with less sanity. But the council to promote stability. Just, it's too late to obviously hack into the game, but it's just an interesting concept.
It's on us to make sure there is a world for their children to grow up in, free from harm, from darkness. So think about that the next time you receive your orders. The next time they ask you to dance to their tune. Ask yourself, why are you a part of this? Who are you doing it for?
Well, as per my character, he's doing it for everybody. Now, the Illuminati is obviously... You too. The Illuminati is obviously not happy about that sort of thing, but the thing is that I've been trying to play him as, shall we say, doing good despite, the bad. A lot of people get stuck with that, hoping that their lives are, in fact, a sum total good. Anyways, I'm probably going to head over to the Marya camp, which would be the last civilized spot. Now, this episode is going to be dealing with the civilized areas, which would be the Marya, the town, and the fallen outskirts. We'll deal with the desert in the next episode, so I'll see you there. Okay, so I just got kind of a badass pose here I was going to keep. I just killed a scorpion that wandered by, but for the meantime, let's talk about this area. Now, this is just to the southwest of the outskirts, which is another one of the Marya positions overrun, and here is the last Marya position not overrun. As you can see, it's pretty overrun, because these are, in fact, the cultists have captured the Maryan trucks. Now, the trucks themselves are obviously vital for military operation. You'd be able to move men and supplies, and the pickup truck is probably the civilian vehicle that is best. Now, the pumping station is an important place where they pump oil, which is a primary resource for a military. So the cultists have overrun the primary facility with the Marya reduced, as you say, to a last stand in front of one of the outbuildings. Now, back over here at the pumping station, as you can see, we have just the work crews lying around, so I'm standing around, so I guess it's union labor still. And the facility itself. One of the missions is to blow this place up, but again, because we keep resetting the timeline every time through the time window, it's just not blown up yet. Remember, our timeline doesn't go forward. We're stuck in this eternal moment, but the timeline went forward, in which the facility was destroyed. Now, the dry riverbed leads to a source of the filth over here, and further down south. As you can see, the pumping station is supposed to be drawing water, but it's not. That's because it's not the rainy season. When the rainy season comes, that filth section is supposed to be pumped into the river, into the Nile, and infect a whole bunch of people and turn them into mindless cultists, because that's what Atenists do. But again, because we corrected the timeline when we went in through our missions, that didn't happen. We blew up the place, and I'm kind of assuming the Illuminati and the other factions destroyed everything. So yeah, here again is one of the few checkpoints still remaining there, leading... Oh, there's another scorpion. Ooh, is there anything in here? Hi. Are you a secret with blood smears? Oh my god, I don't think I did this mission. Scorpion Queen. The corpse of an Oriachi scientist lies hidden away in a crevice. Notes in his person chest looking for a weakness in the giant scorpions that trail the desert landscapes. Perhaps he was onto something. Next to the corpse lies a thumper, a device that vibrates supersonic pulses through the ground. It seems it's also able to detect good locations for the procedure. Pick up the thumper and follow the signal to its point. Okay. This is going to be a first for Interlude. We're actually going to do a mission.
Radar module activated.
If it takes too long, I'll just skip. Dude. Okay. I don't think we really have to try too hard to attract them.
Item located.
We got it. It's over here by the rocks. I'll have to remember that. Okay, plant the sucker. Let's see. We got it here. Wait, where is it? Did we not pick it up? Oh, you don't have to. Apparently, it's not in our inventory. Okay, let's do this. Oh, this is going to be fun. Ah, hi. You're ugly. Oh, and they're only half health, which is good. I don't even have the right configuration up, but yeah. So, that's the thing. Now, the Scorpions are kind of a neutral faction around here. I'm kind of a... Yeah, they're definitely weaker. So, this Oriachi device actually seems to be doing something, which is an improvement. As you know from my Moons of Madness spread, they don't do... Oriachi doesn't have a good reputation when it comes to worker safety. Ooh, what was that? Oh, cool. Anything? No. Okay, forget it. Okay, so sorry about that brief interlude to my interlude, but yeah. Let's go back to the actual last encampment. This is the central base for the Maria, the only major base they have remaining. The remainder of the other forces are kind of stuck. Now, if you remember, when we came here first, they were under attack, but Gandalf, which we'll meet next interlude episode, was helping me defend the area, but he moved back to the oasis. So, give me a second. Boom, there we go. I've kind of been taking off things to this, but... Ah, yes. The number 2 of the Maria is this dude. As you kind of all remember, I'm sure, from the more interesting episodes. Yeah, this is the primary headquarters, which is the only major base now left intact. Maria are not... And as you can see, I'm going to guess that's a error. I don't think they meant to put them under the air beds. Dude, he's not doing well. But yeah, this is the infirmary. Supplies over here running low. Second one over here, and they stole... that mission is to bring back a package for Zarya, but I think they stole one of her food shipments, which I'm not going to blame them for, because this is like... Oh, you can look at the map anytime. Cool. Yep, this shows you a little more detail. The Maria camp and this secret passageway that runs between the two that's guarded on both ends. One of your missions is to run through here and sneak in, but you could just walk in the front door considering who you are. And this is the area we were over before, although it shows that the water would be actually filled in this section. Hang on a second, sorry. And this is the checkpoint that leads off to the back entrance with a freaking mortar. Or is that a machine gun? It's a machine gun. Still, it works. Mortars can be tricky to do. But anyways, let's talk to Ness here. Hopefully the radio noise isn't too distracting. Okay. Tell me about yourself, Monsieur.
They call me Nasser, the Boom Boom Man.
No, they don't.
They call me this because I make things go boom, yes?
Hopefully when they're supposed to go boom.
I train with the Americans, explosives experts, special forces. They teach me everything about bombs, about C4, about how to blow shit up. How to blow shit up in other dimensions. They were special forces.
50-50 chance he's lying about that.
I stay with them for 2 years, learning all the secrets, all the tricks. Before the desert swallowed them.
Okay, if he's the last survivor of a team, I could almost believe that.
Now I am special forces. Maria special forces.
Well, force of one. But that's what I am, so I'm not going to comment.
And I make things go boom boom.
More ways than one, I'm betting. Oh god, I'm getting into it. Anyways.
We are young warriors. But despite our name, we are not so young. We have been here for many generations. Our tribe has made an ancient promise to our ancestors, the Sentinels. It is our duty, our destiny, to protect this valley.
That's right, the Sentinels from the Egyptian underworld, which we will find eventually, we will get to in the next interlude. The only thing is, I really wish you could ask these Sentinels questions, because they're terribly interesting answers.
From the time of the Black Pharaoh, we have kept his spirit contained. Now he whispers, now he dreams, and his armies are rising once more.
Even a dead god can dream.
This is the time we have been waiting for, and we must keep our promises, or die trying.
Which is one of his episodes, which is... Yeah, no, it's Die Hard, never mind. Anyways, so yeah, that's him about the Maria. And the thing is that if we were to lose... I forgot her name, unfortunately, the main leader, I think he could pull it off. I think he could straighten up and be... put aside the goofiness and become the leader if necessary, but I don't think that happens. Now remember, he is effectively the leader right now because she's cut off to the main base. In fact, she might not be intending to come back. And I think he's ready for it.
Beyond those mountains is the place where the Black Pharaoh built his city. It has been concealed and protected since his body was entombed in his pyramid. Now he rises again, and this time into a different world. He can do great damage, him and his dark god. It is not a good time for the forces of darkness to grow stronger.
Is it really any good time? And I just get this weird image of the Black Pharaoh coming across an iPhone and being confused. What does this mean, Google? Tell me of this god in Oracle Google, that I might strike him down.
So we cannot let this happen. I cannot let this happen. For ancestors in the past, for ancestors in the future.
That would be descendants, not ancestors, but I get you. English is probably not your first language.
The older than the Maria, older than pharaohs and gods, older than the mountains.
True.
Older than the sky even.
Yep.
There is magic always in the world. People can use this magic for good and for evil.
Absolutely true. This world and the real world. I mean, this world and the game one.
You are of magic. Never forget this. And it's important to use this gift for good.
Willing soldier of Gaia. To the end.
People who do not understand this, they are the reason why we fight.
Yeah, because of the assholes. I'm going to get away from the music for a little bit here. You know, I don't mind it, but it gets a little dulled after a while. But yeah, this is pretty much, if you look at it, the lower half of the map here. This is the civilized zone that we've just gone over. Now, the higher levels up here are ruins, and starting with the Egyptian ruins and heading down to the modern ones here. That's probably what I'll be doing next episode. I think I've gotten all the major parts here. There's a there's one we're missing. The packing plant. Oh, my favorite. Anyways, I'm going to pop over there and do the last part of the episode. See you then. So let's talk about the Date Factory. As you can see, the Oriachi facility warehouse over here is overlooking what is known effectively as the Date Factory. Now, this is the primary headquarters of the cult. As you can see, all the patrols leading prisoners go down into there, where they're converted into cultists. And as you can see, they've been taking the Maria and doing that as well, which frankly, if I was a Maria, I would not allow myself to be captured. Last bullet for yourself. Standard for Lovecraftian protagonists. Anyways, so the thing is, normally, I can walk through here without any issue whatsoever. But those guys are level 50 in there, and I have a hell of a fight. So, first thing I want to do is pop over to the tombs level. Now, over here in the Houses of Rest, Gesundheit, you can see the cultists have overrun the tombs and started defiling the place in the name of their dark gods, as you do, right? That's what you do if you're a cultist. And attempting to summon ancient evil spirits. That didn't sound good. Until you come over onto here, which is this primary summoning spot, and a defiled, as you can see up here, a defiled mother goddess statue, probably Isis. They like the defiling thing. It's the cultists, what they do. They take everything that's holy, defile it, and try to use it for material gain for their dark gods, and eventually become nothing more than mindless minions that serve a being without will. Which I've never really seen this as a really good decision for your future, All right, so let's do the date. Let's do the Date Factory. This is gonna get tough. Ooh, okay, so you guys will ignore me. The packing plant. Now, the primary issue, as you can see over there, they've got the turret guns, they've got the guys snipers, they've got that. The primary desire for them is to take infected dates. Now, Zarya goes over this in the plant mission, and load them into trucks and ship them all to Egypt so that you can get the filth on the shelves and get people to become cultists just by having their daily spread and such. Now, of course, primary loading dock, area facility, we can't get in there unless the appropriate mission is active, but this is also the recruitment areas, and there's a dungeon below. Now, the other thing is that they've got satellite television too, so at least the cultists have something to do besides mumble Atan. Yeah, don't get too close to me, dude. Anyways, yeah, and you can't go in here willy-nilly. Now, the thing is, Gesundheit. The thing is that, as you notice, the pipes also connect us to the plant, which means that the pumping station is pumping filth from that little spot over at the end of the river all the way into this facility. Then it's watered onto the dates. The dates absorb it, and they ship out the dates. Now, the Illuminati briefing for the appropriate mission says that they think they got all the dates. They think they do, but we're going to have issues in the future. Cairo is going to be a mess, but that's somebody else's problem, as we're not summoned for it, so obviously it's containable by the normal means. But in the meantime, I think, like I said, that's just about everything over here in the civilized side of the desert. There isn't a lot of lore on the desert side that we haven't covered, but on this side they haven't covered. The desert has some interesting, somewhat schizophrenic lore, but we'll be covering our next episode. But until then, this is Fantasy World saying farewell from Lovecraft Country, and I hope you enjoyed this. And obviously, if you haven't already, pop over and see my Secret Worlds my Secret Worlds series. We could put a link on the end screen here. And if you like, share, and subscribe. And if you really like it, I have down below in the description, there are links to the Gumroad payment platform. I don't use Patreon because they didn't pay me. And that's kind of counter to having a payment platform now, isn't it? Anyways, see you next episode.
You will see the dawning of a new age. To be a monarch or a beggar. To lose everything or to become a god. To stand with us or against us. The choice is yours.